stake out the Rams hotel, kidnap Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and you might have a chance.
Hello, welcome back to Football 301. I'm your host, Nate Tice. Wild Card Weekend. We are here. We are at the dance. 14 teams remaining, 12 playing this weekend. Got some fun games, too. Got some tight spreads. And if you're looking gambling wise, maybe one game, not so much, but plenty of great matchups that we're going to dive into today. As always, joining me, Mr. Fort Verts, Charles McDonald in studio. Charles McDonald out in the Big Apple. How you doing today, Chuck?
Doing pretty good. It's like 47 degrees outside, which feels incredibly warm after the winter that we've had. I was talking to our mutual friend Steve just earlier, and I was like, "Hey, I'm outside in a little thin crew neck and some joggers, and it feels good." It's weird how you adjust like that. And I'm hoping that we get to feel good today and tomorrow because the Panthers might not be feeling so good to kick things off this weekend. But I'm excited to get into it. It's gonna be a lot of fun this weekend. Let's go. Finally, we finally got past the schlock, man. No more talking about 3-win football teams and their backup quarterbacks in December. The good teams are here.
And no more going like, oh, this team matches up kind of good against this, but they might not play. Now we know. Now I know exactly the matchups are. I knew Monday morning what games to watch when I was doing this. It was great. Just like just dive in. I know exactly how this is going to rank. And I don't know how this is going to break down, but at least I know what to break down going into this weekend. So totally agree with you. And then we got college football playoff tonight. We're recording this on Thursday. Then we got tomorrow. We got one game tonight and one game tomorrow. It's perfect. We got game tonight, game Friday night, playoffs on Saturday, 2 games, and then 3 games on Sunday, or 2 games on Sunday and a game on Monday night. We're locked and loaded with some football for the next few nights. My wife cannot wait. I can tell you that. Before we jump into Wild Card Weekend, what are you doing another night? Why is the iPad out? Hold on, I got to replay this play. One news item today, because Black Monday just keeps, it's Black Week, I guess, going this way. That sounds off. It's not February yet. Sorry, Truck. But one news item, Mike McDaniel fired by the Dolphins. It felt like a long time coming with Mike McDaniel because the GM got fired in the middle of the season. That's always usually an indicator of some changes are coming. But Mike McDaniel, even with I would say an impressive coaching performance this year, at least offensively. And I even think the Dolphins defense showed some life in the second half of the season. I think Anthony Weaver did a nice job there. But Mike McDaniel is now fired. And I think he, at the very least, gets to the top of the offensive coordinator charts, might be going for that Chip Kelly $6 million a year record, but I think should get some interest as a head coach by some of these teams that have an opening. Actually, a quarter of the league has openings right now, which is just what? Wild. But McDaniel fired. Charles, what you think about this? Where do you think he could actually end up at, and maybe more a place that you want to see him at, either as an OC or as a head coach, and really just what you feel about McDaniel in general?
Yeah, I was honestly pretty surprised this happened because just, what was it, yesterday, day before, Mike McDaniel was looking at GM candidates that he was going to lead the charge on. But I guess, setting the meetings with I think he had 6 guys lined up, and they were all McVay or Shanahan guys he had worked with or knew before, 5 of the 6 at least. The Philly guy, I'm not sure what the connection is there, but there has to be some, considering the rest of the list.
Some play for Mike Shanahan or Kubiak or something, yeah.
But I guess we're about to see a blitz for John Harbaugh, because maybe Mike McDaniel keeps his job if John Harbaugh still has his job. And I'm with you. Like, I don't really see why Mike can't be a head coach again. It's not like this was an offensively bad performance by the Dolphins. I mean, they had some offensively bad games for sure. But we've seen him at the peak of this run one of the best offenses in like league history, basically, like from the 70-point game. And I know it hasn't come to fruition in the playoffs, but I just think a lot of that was personnel based. And I know we've always been on the Tua's whatever kind of train, and even when they were good, because a lot of like the good stuff looks like the bad stuff too, where it's just okay, well we're throwing blind to the middle of the field, but Tyreek Hill's in his prime, and he's going to beat someone to the spot, and he's going to catch it, and he's going to run for 50 yards. But now he's not there, and we're still throwing to the same spot, still throwing blind, and now those throws are getting picked off. So I would like to see Mike with a different quarterback just to see if that changes how he kind of goes about things. But if we're still doing like the offensive minded head coach stuff, I mean, that's about as good as you can get right there. I mean, I'd be cool with the Falcons hiring him. Yeah. Like I'd be cool with the Falcons hiring him and see what happens in 2026 and go move forward from there in 2027. But I think there's a lot of spots that make sense. I've been thinking today that Mike would be Jean. That'd be a whole.
I know. And if they sign Algier back and you got two backs going on, like that would be. And maybe get Pitts back too. Oh, I don't care who's the quarterback. Like honestly, and I know I've seen some people go, "Well, Panks can't do play action." But it's okay. I care a little bit. No, but that's the thing with McDaniel. It's just this coaching cycle is so interesting because there hasn't been some hot coordinators. It's a bunch of retreads and a bunch of kind of like okay names, more defensive guys. And I even cracked a joke, kind of like a meme this morning, and I mean it though, is like the Titans are interviewing all these retread head coaches, including Matt Nagy, who has like 4 interviews lined up. And I'm sorry, Matt doesn't seem like a bad guy or anything. It's just like, did I miss something where this guy's image got rehabilitated the last couple of years? Like what happened at the end of Chicago and what's happening in Kansas City since he's been back? What are you selling me on that? McDaniel's a way easier sell to me because like maybe he doesn't seem like a football guy, but he actually is. I mean, this guy lives and dies by the run game. You can't be more football oriented than that. Like, I think just the passing game stuff that it kind of blinds some people. And I don't know, to me, I think the Titans should just be like, whatever you want. Like that's better than any other candidates that I think they brought in. And I just want to see him with Cam Ward, and I want to see him. And I think that would be such an interesting match between McDaniel, who's been a lot of pistol, a lot of gun because of Tua, and then Cam Ward can do a little bit of everything. He's fine operating under center. I really like him under center, actually. Can do the gun stuff, can throw well on the move, has no qualms with ripping throws over the middle. It's actually some of his best stuff. But I don't know. To me, that's like an amazing fit. And get the most out of what their weapons are, and then maybe drop in a new receiver this offseason. And I don't know. I think you could cook pretty quickly. I don't know. Maybe that's just me and just pie in the sky stuff and optimistic stuff, but I don't know. That feels like so perfect to me. The Commanders moved on from Cliff Kingsbury. McDaniel has a connection with Dan Quinn. If one of the Kubiaks goes from San Fran or Seattle, does he just go into one of those spots, which would be interesting? He's going to have his phone's going to be ringing. But that's just what's so funny is these guys, Stefanski first, then Harbaugh, and now McDaniel, and all of them just move straight to the top. They get fired and they move straight to the top of the coaching candidates. So that's what this cycle is, though. There's no hot coordinator.
Yeah, I was talking to someone this morning. I was like, this kind of turned out to be kind of a quality pool of candidates now. Like,
I agree.
Once you get to the end of it, we still have. We're going to see what happens with guys like Anthony Weaver, who I guess his situation got a little more complicated today. But I mean, it's not like he's getting these interviews by mistake. He's had a solid 2-year run as defensive coordinator, and like their peaks have been high. So, we'll see what happens in Miami. I do wonder which franchises are feeling some regret, like come April, or come August. We're like, oof, it's a little bit more disorganized than we thought. Maybe we should have kept the last guy we had because, I mean, even with the Browns, like the idea that you're going to find someone better than Kevin Stefanski, who I think, man, like the narrative around him has gotten poisoned, like in a way that I don't really quite understand. Like if you're actually watching these games, there's a lot of quality guys, and I just need Arthur Blank to get this right, man. Just get this right. We're off to a bad start with I hired a firm, and the firm told us that our vision wasn't clear. You can listen to that podcast this summer. You listen to this podcast last summer.
My God. We
could have told you that.
In the heat of the moment. Like with no prep on draft day, we could have done that.
We will do consulting for you for a hefty fee.
That's what I said. I don't need to work with a team. I just hire a Football 301 for 2 months during coaching, hires, free agency, and then draft. And all we'll do is don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, thank you. Now thank you, Corn Ferry. Pay me $1 million. Like that. That's I can do what these consultant firms do. Or how about they'll be like, oh, so and so is part of this. This was the Falcons. this firm wants this guy. Oh, and this guy actually works on the firm and he knows this coach. And it's just all connections. Right. That's all it is. I know. It's not to be nihilistic about it all or cynical about it all, but it's just kind of one of these things. There's just truly is who you know. And I am the guy that is saying that. That's me with my last name saying that. But I look at just to end this, kind of put a just to cap this off. But like to me, top coaching candidates are Stefanski, not in any order, but to like the tier that I would hire of these 8 openings. A quarter of the league have openings right now. To me, it's McDaniel, Saleh, Flores, and Stefanski and Harbaugh. Like, I think those guys, it's like, if you don't get one of those guys, what are you doing? To me, maybe there's some of these assistants that I'm underrating. You know, maybe Monken. I don't think Monk as a head coach. I like him as an assistant. Jesse Minter is very interesting as well. From the Chargers, I think maybe he might be a year away, but again, 8 openings. So one of these guys is maybe going to be a little bit, maybe I don't think is ready, but they'll probably get a shot at it. So, I mean, I mean, Mike McCarthy's out there.
Dude, we're still talking about Mike McCarthy.
Another great guy, but come on, you know what prime Aaron Rodgers and prime Dak. Like, we know what you're getting. You know what, like, what's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing, expecting different results. Like, that's kind of what, it's not like those places didn't have resources either. It's not like you can go and like, oh, that owner was cheap. It's the Packers and the Cowboys. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot about this. And head coaching, quarterbacks, play callers, there's so many teams. I'm just like, well, are you sure you guys want to go down this path? All right, good luck. But we'll see. The only thing I've left on the carousel, if Brian Flores is still the Vikings defensive coordinator come fall, we got to actually like seriously talk about what's going on there, you know? Yeah. Like seriously, because the performance that they had in the back half of the season, they won a game where they threw for 3 passing yards against the Lions, like not in a scrub team. So that guy needs to get back in the mix. I was looking at all the stats, you know, for this show, for our breakdown show, and looking at like since week 10, you'll trust me, you guys, you're about to hear since week 10 a whole lot on the show. Yeah. And the Viking, it's like the top defenses, and it's exactly who you think. And then the Vikings, it's like Texans or like Seahawks, Vikings, Texans, Eagles. Like the Vikings are at top of every stat. And I think his contract's actually up too with the Vikings. So that's interesting as well. Like he could be a top, even if he doesn't get a head coaching job. I mean, probably the top defensive coordinator name that you'd want too. So yeah, Flores is an interesting domino, and probably a lot of stuff's going to come from that, where he ends up and what goes from there. So, all right, we're going to take our first break, and then we're going to start our wild card preview, starting with the Saturday games. See you guys in a sec. Time to preview the wild card games, the main portion of this show. We got 6 games to get through. Kind of a hybrid, you know, lost in a sauce / cheat sheet, because there are 6 games to go through. But we'll start with the one with the biggest spread. The Rams are favored 10.5 points visiting the Panthers in Charlotte. And our friend at Yahoo, Ben Fox, had a great tweet about this. The LA Rams are currently 10.5 point road favorites at the Panthers on Saturday. If the line holds, the Rams would be the biggest NFL playoff road favorite in the Super Bowl era. So that's since 1966, the biggest spread on the road that we have seen, at least in our lifetimes at the very least. I'm not that old, but yes, at least since 1966. Chuck, when you're watching Stafford, Bryce Young, Sean McVay, the Rams, who have the best run game of this entire millennium, what are you focusing on? Maybe the question should be, how can the Panthers pull off a big upset against the Rams? Maybe that's the best way I could ask you this.
Find your local criminals in the greater Charlotte area, stake out the Rams hotel, kidnap Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and you might have a chance. Might have a chance. It's like that's the game plan. You know, call Tony Soprano and the boys and make sure they don't make it to the stadium. Because other than that, I went back and I watched the game again yesterday. It's like a case study. If you have 5 huge plays, can they make up for an entire game of getting your ass kicked? And the answer that day was yes. Because we talked about it a lot. The Panthers, I know it gets lost sometimes because you get away from it and it says 30-21 Panthers. They got shredded in that game. But
yes,
turnovers, right? You turn the ball over 3 times, hit a couple long range touchdowns. The shortest touchdown of the day was still over 30 yards. Even when you include the Mike Jackson pick 6 on Stafford, do it again. That's what I would say. And you probably won't. And if they do, then I'll eat crow, and you can make fun of me, and I'm definitely going to cry in the corner and look at all the things you guys say to me. But there's no way that these teams as constructed, if everyone shows up, I don't see how the Panthers win. Like the 10-point spread, they could have hit that last time, because it's not like the Panthers were stopping them. The Rams were just stopping themselves, and then you had some high leverage downs that got messed up. Like even some of the long touchdowns from Bryce were on like late downs. I mean, you're one play away from getting off the field, and you give up a touchdown.
High variance downs.
I think. High variance downs, right?
Yeah. Yes, and that's why the word variance matters there, because they hit on the variance. Like, and then what happens if you don't? I mean, you just. And I hate, because I love the playoffs, like NFL playoffs, wildcard weekend, divisional weekend. I love it. Like, I love how competitive these games are. You see the best of these teams. But like, I'm just looking at the matchup in that game, because I remember breaking down that game with you after it happened. And we were just laughing the whole time about all the Rams stats, because it was just like, how did you lose this game? Like, and it was because they had turnovers. Like you said, turnovers after long drives. So when you have that, then it's like, okay, we bled all this clock, we give it back, and then they score, but we just kind of did a double whammy to ourselves. But the Rams had 6 drives reach the red zone. They scored on 4 of them, scored touchdowns on 4 of them, turned over on 2. They still have, even with negative 0.11 EPA per dropback, they average 0.12 EPA per play, because their rushing success rate on running back runs was 70%. 14 out of 20 designed runs were successful for the Rams. 70%, anything over 45% is very good. Anything over 50 is elite. 70% is one of the best ones you'll see all year, especially on 20 designed runs. Explosive run rate, 20%. So that means what? 4 of those runs were explosive. If you ever get over more than 2 explosive runs, that's a good day. Why I'm bringing that all up is that's the strength of the Rams. I know Stafford's, actually, I would say if I'm betting on May, or I would vote for May, but I'm betting that Stafford wins it. I can't bet. I'm saying this rhetorically. Right. Is that when I look at it, is that the run game for the Rams is the best run game since the year 2000 on running back runs. It's them, last year's Falcons, and those Chiefs teams with Priest Holmes and several all-pro offensive linemen. It's an amazing run game. They're first in offensive DVOA since week 10, first whole season. They're head and shoulders above everybody else. Like, again, we've talked about this, you and me, but also with our friends, is that sometimes we just say ranks. They're first, they're third, they're fifth, they're ninth, they're 12th. But we don't look at actually what the number is, or we don't share it. And the Rams are first in offensive DVOA, but it's like they're not even like close to anybody else. It's like a big chunk to 2, and then that's even a bigger chunk to 3, and then it's like the rest of everybody else. They can throw the ball, they can score in the red zone, they can run it, they can do running back runs. Again, that is significant to me, that you don't need quarterback design stuff or shotgun stuff. They can't with Stafford anyways. And I do think maybe the other side of the ball, the Panthers offense, which first half of the season and in last year, I would say was one of the better run games. Now it's been one of the worst run games in the NFL. Every stat you look at, there's no kind of like redeeming quality to their run offense. That's dicey, because that's how I would go against the Rams. They're not the biggest front. They play a lot of sub packages, and I would just road grade them. They want to do all the funky stuff and move a bunch. All right, I'm running you right down the pipe. And I think that they don't have the passing game to really threaten the Rams. Like, I love Tetairoa McMillan. I really like Coker. I really like Mitchell Evans, the rookie tight end. But Bryce Young, like, how you have to beat this Rams defense is you have to beat them over the top, like the Lions tried to do, or you have to hit in breakers against them, like the Seahawks and the 49ers like to do. Weird Shanahan offenses, I know, but that's that's the way to beat them. That's not Bryce Young's game, throwing digs and throwing big boy throws like over the middle, right as the guy's breaking. He's best throwing go balls. That's not how you beat this defense. That's what they want you to do. And it sucks, because I always try to find angles. And yes, the Panthers just beat this team a few weeks ago in Carolina. But again, that's why we're bringing up the underlying stats. And that's why the variance of football is so much fun. It's like poker. You can make all the right plays, but that 2-outer hits you on the river. That's kind of football sometimes. But this game is that I don't think they're going to hit the 2-outer. I think it's more like, no, it's locked down. They got the nuts, and good luck trying to beat that. So
yeah,
that's just how I look at it. Whether that's fair or not, I just think that's how the breakdown's going to be. So any other stats, tidbits before we do a little quick prediction?
I think this kind of sums up what happened between like Bryce Young and Stafford in that game, where you kind of look at the box score and says, oh, you know, Bryce Young 15 for 20, 3 touchdowns, pretty clean. Matt Stafford 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I don't know. Okay, Matt Stafford in that game on dropbacks only had a 41% first down conversion rate. First place in the NFL this year is the Rams at 33%, so 8% higher than number one, which is his own team. Bryce Young had a 27% dropback conversion rate. 27% of dropbacks went for first down. That would rank 27th in the NFL. So, like, it was still one of like a below average bottom 5 game from a conversion perspective. You just hit a few big plays. Do it again. Yep. The only thing I'll say is Rams defense has not been great back half of the season. I think you're kind of starting to see the talent cracks there. That's one of those units where it's like kind of like I don't think it's as talented as the Vikings, but you still got to plug and play every little guy like very intentionally, and I think it's kind of catching up to them. But they have the best offense in the league, one that looks like the best sustained for the playoffs. So don't think this won't be too much of a problem for him.
And then that's another thing I'm curious about is Chris Shula has shown that he's a pretty good game planner and showing some good stuff. But I want to see him in this playoff run. I don't think maybe he has some wrenches for the Panthers and Bryce Young, especially since they've already played. But I agree with you. I think they're more gettable. Like, I view the Rams defense as more above average than maybe their stats show, where there are a lot of 8th, 6th rankings in a lot of the stats. I view them more like a 12th-ish type defense. And I know that sounds stupid, but I'm just kind of just saying, like, I don't consider them like elite. I consider them pretty good. I think the corners aren't very big. They're gettable. And I think the safeties are very smart, very, very smart. And the slot player, very, very smart and very good with the game plan stuff. Their ability to recover, this is kind of scouting terms and stuff, but their ability to recover is not great. And I think that's how the Lions got them in that game. I keep bringing that up because I thought the Lions had a great game plan against them. And where you can kind of, on play action stuff, you can kind of catch them frozen and they can't recover, like an Earl Thomas or something. Of course, no one like Earl Thomas, but like an elite safety could. So, like, there's ways you can get them. It's just that I don't know if Bryce can do it. And I don't know if this current iteration of the Panthers can do it. More curious if they do win this game and what moves on. But predictions. I obviously, I'll just say right now, the Rams win.
Minus 20.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, Panthers fans. You guys are already a year ahead of schedule, it seems like to me, but I'm curious. I'm most curious what they do with that Bryce Young contract. Yeah, maybe, right.
They lost on Saturday. They did lose on Saturday.
We'll see after Saturday. Might be 9. No. I was going to say, everybody's looking at new coaches and quarterbacks. All right. Packers, Bears, the other Saturday night game. I think this game's on Prime as well, which is, they got the juicy matchup. But Packers, Bears, Packers are now 1-point favorites. If I remember correctly, I believe the Bears opened as favorites. I could be wrong on that, but the Packers are now 1-point favorites. This game is Saturday night. We'll start Packers offense, Bears defense. Anything you focusing on in this matchup, Chuck?
Oh man, I'm trying not to just repeat all the things I said for the previous 2 times that we looked at this game. But I don't think anything's changed. Like,
hey, it's the third matchup, man.
It's the third matchup. If Jordan Love plays, which he is, so
he is. Yes.
The Rams. Not the Rams. The Packers. They should score a lot of points in this game. I don't think anything has changed about like our evaluation of the Bears defense. It's the same bad unit that it has been. They're just a little opportunistic. But man, like when Jordan Love has played against his defense, he's done a pretty good job. I mean, it's like the explosive that he's hitting, just how well he keeps plays alive. Like, you basically need someone as good as Caleb Williams sometimes to survive like the bombs that Jordan Love can drop you. So if he's just ready to go, that's the only place where I get a little concerned for the Bears in this game, because I think they obviously don't have anyone from a talent perspective on that defense who can kind of go toe-to-toe with Jordan Love. They don't have the pass rush. The secondary's been inconsistent. So you need to find ways to get your hand on the ball, because I don't see how they're going to stop this offense, because we've seen it before with this team. Like, even when the Bears went up to Lambeau and they beat the Packers. Oh no, they lost. Excuse me, they lost on the last play. When they lost on the last play when Caleb rolled out, Jordan was incredible in that game, and it looked like it was about to be a blowout up until halftime, and then the Bears kind of settled in. They pushed it back, and came down to one of the last plays to punch your ticket to overtime. Just run it back out there again and hope that the defense can stave them off a little bit better this time. Because the one thing I will say about this Packers defense, just as far as it comes to to being a supporting cast for Jordan Love, they kind of did their part in the two Bears games this year. I know there was a lot of bend, don't break, but ultimately you gave up 21 points, you gave up 22 points. That's not
a win.
Terrible for where this offense is. So if you can clear that bar, I think that they can do that with Jordan Love. But I still think this is a compelling game. But Jordan Love being back, that's terrifying for Bears fans, I think, because he can race you down in a real quick instant.
What I think is so compelling is that it's two really explosive offenses versus two defenses that allow a lot of explosives. So it's like, there's a chance this might be a 31-27 type game, like 34-30 in the cold. It'll be great. I think there is snow flurries potentially in Chicago. Nice. I think it's not a playoff type game that you expect at Soldier Field, I think, in our lifetimes, because every time the Bears make a playoff run, it's usually with an elite defense and a middling Rex Grossman led offense, or Jay Cutler or Mitch Trubisky. Caleb was a different animal than that, and this Bears run game is a different animal than that. Starting with the Bears defense, Packers offense, that I was trying to find some angle. Like, the Packers run offense hasn't been great with and without Josh Jacobs. It's kind of middle of the road. That's how I put it. It's not this overwhelmingly great unit, kind of by design. There's such a jab-based run game. And I would say the Bears run defense, not great either. And then same thing with the Bears pass defense. They allow a lot of explosives, and what they've been living on is turnovers, which Dennis Allen has always kind of had that, because they kind of game stuff up and how they do things on the back end, trying to confuse you, throw in the tight spots, yada, yada, good on tips, all that stuff. But they're very gettable. Like, they're not, in the back half of the season, they're 28th in third down rate, which was their strength in the first half of the season. Remember, that was kind of what they were. It was like, they're great in situations and they're great at getting turnovers. It's like, okay, that's good for you. That's fallen off. Since week 10, this team is, 28th in rushing success rate, 20th in passing success rate, 31st in stuff rate, as far as getting TFLs and tackles for no yards, which against the Packers is tough, because the Packers are built on those 2, 3, 4 yard gains and then huge haymakers from Jordan Love. And so, like, you look at this team, 27th in EPA versus the slot since Kyler Gordon's been hurt. I mean, watch last week against the Lions. Both times they played the Lions, it was just Amon-Ra St. Brown name breakers, Amon-Ra St. Brown name breakers, digs and overs, and over again. The Packers have Jaden Reed, and he's pretty good from the slot. And they have other guys that they can do this to, and Jordan Love is willing to throw to the slot. They're willing to throw outbreakers, willing to throw inbreakers. This was the other thing I thought was interesting. The Bears, since week 10, they are 29th in average distance to go on third down. Again, that stuff rate matters, because now you're getting them a lot of 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 3s. And they have that 28th and third down percentage. Who's one of the best teams on third down this year? The Packers. They are 2nd in third down conversion rate this year. 48.8%. That's like an absurd number. Anything above 50 is like an all-time number, and they're creeping towards that, kind of by design of this offense as well. And then I looked at those inbreakers, and actually the Bears actually weren't as bad on them. I mean, 24th in success rate, not as bad, but outbreakers, which is what Jordan Love is just nailing Romeo Doubs on, just outbreaker and getting everybody. Sure enough, the Bears are bad against that as well. So, like, I think Jordan Love's not going to have too many issues. They might get him with one pick because he's so aggressive, but I think the run game's fine enough to kind of keep them in good situations. And then they can, he can throw some haymakers to whoever he wants to. I think that he has plenty of options there. It's just what the Bears are this year. They're not really tough up the middle along the spine, and they're very gettable when you throw the ball. The other side of the ball. Do you have anything else on this side? Or the other side, I was going to say Bears offense. The one thing I had was from weeks 1 through 16, like when Jordan Love did play before he got hurt. Yeah. The Packers, they were over 50% on third down, 50.3% third down rate. So it's dropped since he's been out. But they were first on third and long. So 3rd and 7 yards more, 41%.
with Jordan Love at quarterback. So
41% on 3rd and 7 plus.
3rd and long. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's like
ridiculous.
That's got to be like twice the league average. Yeah, most guys are in the low 20s. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I'm not shocked.
I'm about to say the Bears. They've got 23%, which is 22nd in the league. Like, so they're like just below average. They're 20% higher at number 1. So good luck, Bears. That's a tough spot to be in.
It is. I think there's gonna be. I know there's just nothing about. That's originally what my angle was. Oh, it's going to come down to 3rd downs. The Packers are so good on 3rd down. I was like, oh, the Bears have fallen off completely on 3rd down. Like, so it wasn't like as strong of like a strength versus strength thing. It was kind of like everything the Packers want to do, the Bears will kind of let them. Attacking linebackers, attacking the slot. The Packers have answers for that. Outbreakers, there's Dobbs. So the other side of the ball, I mean, the Bears run game is top 2, top 3, however you want to look at it. Full season splits, super explosive, successful as well as far as efficiency wise. And then I think the Packers defense is, completely fallen off a cliff in the back half of the season. From weeks 9 through 17, I dropped out week 18 because Clayton Tune's your starting quarterback. That wouldn't inspire me either. They're 25th in EPA per play over that time period. 17th against the run, but 29th against the pass. Bottom 10 in success rate. 28th in EPA versus receivers. Roman Dunze, I believe, is playing, which is significant, but Luther Burden stepped up over this time period. 28th in sack rate, so you might not get the chaotic Caleb Williams plays as much. Allowing short distances to go on 3rd down. They're 26th in average distance to go on 3rd down over that time period. 27th in stuff rate. So there's not like that aspect of the Packers defense. Now it's just all the injuries they've had that, like, I mean, look who they just signed and are starting at corner right now with Diggs. That's kind of where they're at as a defense right now. And then you're going against the Bears offense that's explosive, 2nd in running back success rate, 9th in DVOA, 5th in weighted DVOA, which is significant, 3rd in yards per run. And then the passing game is explosive as well. So again, these defenses are going to have their hands full, but anything on this side of the ball that you're focusing on, Chuck?
Man, it sounds crazy to say, but I just don't know if the Packers have enough firepower for the Chicago Bears offense.
I know. Not what I expected to say a couple months ago, but here we are.
Or maybe ever in my whole entire life. But like this is, I mean, I can't think of a Bears offense I've seen that's been better than this. Going back to Cutler and Brandon Marshall days. Like
that was the other one. Alshon Jeffrey, the 1 year, with Trestman, that was the only year I can think of.
Yeah, but this run game, this is obviously the core of what they do, the core of what they want to do, and what they're going to do this weekend. I mean, you laid it out pretty cleanly. I don't really have too much to add there. It's one of the best rushing offenses against falling apart run defense that has a bunch of injuries along the defensive line, including Devontae Wyatt and Micah Parsons too. So. Yeah, that's a tough one. And the Bears, they've shown that you're gonna let us run the ball. Okay, we'll just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. And then Caleb Williams can make the high leverage plays when it basically feels like whenever he's needed to over the back half of the season. He's really been dialed in as far as making the most of the chances he had. People talk, the completion percentage is not that high. Well, whatever, man. I don't really know what to say to you. You can be you should be excited about someone that can be maybe below average completion percentage, but top 10 in efficiency metrics. That means there's still meat on the bone here, guys. Right. You should be excited about this. So if all you gotta do is if they can stay on track with the run game. Allow Caleb to hit some big plays over top. I just think personnel-wise, the Packers are so beat up that there's a chance for the Bears to score a lot of points here. If they, if these two teams don't do what they do and kind of take the game a little bit slower and milk the clock down, because we were saying during the season, the only reason Jordan Love wasn't in the MVP consideration was some stupid losses, but also volume. It's not like the Packers run a whole bunch of plays. But when they do run, they're making the most of them, and that can be true at times for the Bears too. So it could be one of those games where it's kind of like the first one, where it's 28-21, not a score that you haven't seen before, and then you look at some of the advanced stats, and whoa, these teams were moving the ball,
cooking on each other.
They were efficient with it. But I just think with the Bears setup, and how we've seen it go, for 2 games now, and how the Bears' offense really has been for the back half of the season, I don't see why they can't run the ball here and really start mowing them down and then hit some play action shots on top of it. Round 3.
I know that's how I picture. And this is the stat. So you said those play action shots. So Caleb has gotten so much better on in breakers this year, like Diggs, and that's what Ben Johnson wants. Like his best throws, I think, are always to the outside, just his arm strength and how he can just throw ropes. It's unbelievable, his arm strength. That's also I remember when they played in Chicago, that was remarkable. And we talked about this, it was super windy and you didn't even feel it because Jordan Love, Malik Willis, and Caleb Williams just all have like plus arm strength. So you had no idea it was a windy day until a kick happened. And then you saw the ball flying from, goalpost to goalpost, upright to upright. And then these guys are throwing the ball 20 yards down the field and the ball's not even moving. It's like, yeah, that's how talented these guys' arms are. And I'm including Willis in this because he's got a lot of arm talent. But this was the one thing off those play action stuff, this thread I pulled at. Packers defense is off next gen stats versus in breakers. So, I should start with Caleb. Caleb Williams on in-breakers, 4th most attempts on in-breakers this entire season, 5th in explosive pass rate on those, and then 4th most yards. Success rate-wise, kind of middle of the pack, kind of what you're speaking to. The completion rate, I try to think of some like baseball stats with this where it's like, I don't need to look at completion rate. I just need to look at success rate because success rate's going to tell me like completion rate, if that makes sense. Like these are the ones that actually mattered. These were the plays that got completed that mattered. I don't need to look at completion rate. And if he's in the top half of the league, we're good. But the Packers defense versus in-breakers this year, 32nd in EPA per dropback, 147 pass attempts they defended on in-breakers. So that's digs, angle routes, slants, benders, in-breakers. 147 pass attempts, and they allowed 0.57 EPA per dropback. They allowed half a point of EPA on 147 pass attempts, 13 touchdowns, 0 picks. They allowed a 128.9 passer rating. If you like the boomer stats, 30th in success rate, 30th in first down rate, 48.3%. Remember that stat you just brought up about Stafford? They allow 48.3% of inbreakers to go for a first down. And this is what the Ben Johnson offense thrives off of. Run, then play action haymakers and deep shot haymakers. Like that is what this offense thrives on. They've weaned out screens and everything. And I think the Packers defense still tackles very well. They run a lot of zone. But I think this offense is perfect against that type of defense. So I'm with you. I think both of these offenses are going to kind of have their way in this game. It's going to come down to who can force the one turnover, who can get a special teams play. Like that, to me, I feel like this is just going to go back and forth. Or like you said, I loved your kind of like the 28-21 or whatever that game was. That's how I'm kind of picturing this game as well. But yeah, predictions. Again, the Packers are 1-point favorites at Soldier Field.
Gotta stick with my bracket. I'm rolling with the Bears. To get a big win over the Packers. I am.
I thought you were starting to lean towards Green Bay. I actually thought you were going Green Bay on this.
I do think that Jordan Love, like, he can obviously take over this game and win. But I also feel the same way about that Bears offense. It just seems like such a clean matchup from them. We've seen them do it twice, albeit Jordan Love didn't finish the last game, but still. Like, we know their ability to run the ball in this defense is bona fide. So, yeah, I'm taking the Bears. I'm taking Caleb Williams, and I'm going to embrace the pain of being a Chicago sports fan for precisely one day and not a second longer.
You got family tied there, don't you?
I do. My dad's a Bears fan. Yeah, my dad's a Bears fan. Yeah, he's been, hey, I got a quarterback. It's not what you were saying last year, but okay.
I know you hated him. We all sacks he took. I know that's another thing. I know the offensive line improved, but it's funny how sacks become a quarterback stat or not, depending on what your argument is. It's like, some of those sacks were his fault last year, but then what about this year? I know the line got better, but sacks are a quarterback stat, right? So he's doing pretty good, right? I don't know. That's you can't argue both. Yeah, you can't say both. I don't know. I was going with the Bears too. I did the prediction. Wow. We sent it to Joey, the editor. I know. If you told me a month ago, I would have no freaking way. But I've just watched enough of this Packers defense, and it's not they've had so many injuries. It's not like anything about what the Packers are. It's just they've had so many injuries that's hard. And this Bears offense is legit. There's nothing lucky about this Bears offense. Like, they are legit a very good run game against good run defenses. And the passing game has been able to generate. Sometimes it loses some efficiency, but it's always efficient enough. But they get explosives every single week. Doesn't matter the weather. Doesn't matter the defense they go against. So, yeah, I'm going with the Bears as well. I didn't think that, but diving into this game, I just think that they have some natural answers, and I think it's going to be a border. I mean, the over-under is at 45. I feel like it should be at like 48. Maybe we're missing some, but I don't know. I know there's weather, but I think these offenses are going to be churning some points. All right, let's go to the junior conference. We got the Bills at the Jaguars. This is the Sunday early game. Bills right now are 1-point favorites at Duval. You know, they're not scared of sweet home Alabama at the end of the third quarter. Not scared of any of that. I don't know. AEW wrestlers living there. I don't know. Over under for this game is 51.5. Hell yeah. This is going to be a great weekend, Chuck. All right, but Bills offense, Jags defense. This is our House Fight of the week. All right. Talked about the Bears run game, the Bills run game, also one of the elite kind of aspects of the playoffs. Josh Allen, the Bills offensive line has battled a little more injuries this year than the last couple of years, but they can run kind of on anybody. And Josh Allen is still Josh Allen going against a Jags defense that's done some good stuff throughout the year. And I've been trying to figure out exactly how I rate them. I wish I could give you a definitive answer, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at this. They're 17th in EP. Oh, I'm sorry. They're third in passing DVOA since week 10. They're one of the better defenses. They're very good blitzing. I think this is going to be a very, very fun matchup. What do you think about it, Chuck? What are you focusing on this side of the ball?
Oh, man, I don't want to sound like a hater here, Jags defense, but like, I am so in prime. Do it again. Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again and again.
You're
and
not
again.
wrong. You're not wrong, but yes, expand.
I mean, look at this schedule. Look at the schedule that they played since week 10. It's the only team they've played that is going to be having the same quarterback next season, because they're not getting into Titans. They mostly played Brandon Allen. The only team that's going to have their quarterback back next year from that game is the Broncos and Bo Nix. Now, they did hold Bo Nix to 20, and we've seen that Broncos team have some strong games this year. But like they played Trey Lance, Jacoby Brissett. You did have the first Cam Ward game. Then they had the game where Daniel Jones got hurt, and you got Riley Leonard's first action. Brady Cook, come on. I've seen that before. Then we had Bo Nix, which we just talked about, Philip Rivers and Riley Leonard, and then last week, Brandon Allen. Dude, that is as easy as it possibly gets for a late season stretch of quarterbacks. You should be beating Brandon Allen 41-7 because he's not a real threat. But this changes so much this weekend when obviously the Bills show up, and they've had a weird kind of back half of the season. But even then, like when you still cut it into the back half of the season, they are still a top 5 offense, like no matter which way you slice it. The thing that's different here is we've watched these games, and Josh Allen doesn't look comfortable right now. I mean, it's just kind of weird. Like he's been all over the place. It's kind of like since that Bengals game in the snow, he had like the crazy touchdown, like where he's running off the side and just kind of slips like behind like the sidearm in the snow for a touchdown. It's like since that play, he's been a little off. I'm not sure what the problem is, if he doesn't trust what's going on around him, because it's not like the infrastructure is really that bad. You know, you still have a good offensive line. James Cook had, improved on what was a career last year. Right. 12 touchdowns. Bell cow back stuff. 309 carries. You know, I did not foresee that for him when he was coming out of Georgia.
Ever. I thought you would never go. I thought you never break 200 carries in a season.
Yeah, receiving back, like your third piece of a part of a room, and he's one of the best guys there. But when you watch him play, when you watch like Josh specifically play, I'm like, man, you got to chill out, because it's not even just. It's not like just like playing in the snow. The first half against the Patriots, dude, the Browns game, he almost gets a safety on a 20-yard sack between Myles Garrett and Mason Graham. The Eagles game last week, where you spend 3 quarters, like, man, if you just chill out, you know that you're you're capable enough to make any play you want. Like, you just won the MVP last year. We know you're one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So maybe that week off against the Jets was good. Got to reset and kind of refocus, because it seemed like he needed that a little bit towards the end of the season, even though they were winning these games. But I'm fascinated by this matchup, because they, on paper, or when you look at the stats, like, this should be like a massive house fight, especially in the trenches. But I just wonder, like, how battle tested is this Jaguars defense really? Now, the good thing is, good defenses still handle business against bad teams, which they have. So it's not like I'm saying that they're bad. I just can't come to a consensus feeling for myself on where this Jaguars defense is, because
I agree.
They haven't played anyone basically since the Rams game. They haven't played any good quarterbacks.
I've been trying to figure them out, man, because I appreciate what they're doing. I'm like, they are well coached, they're well schemed, but we bring it blue chips. Like, are these guys good? I don't know. I think the safeties are very pickable, and I think the linebackers do a great job against the run. They're always in the right spot, but I'm not saying like Lloyd and Aluakon are like incredible needle movers. I think they're just very well schemed, and the play, so if scheme wise, if I think that's neutral, I think it's an even matchup between Joe Brady and what this defense is. All right, who's the advantage? Josh Allen versus everybody. But then, like you say, also Josh Allen has had some up and down moments. I know. And so this side of the ball, but maybe more than any other game and any other unit matchup, I didn't know what thread to pull at. Because I was like, I don't know if that's a strength for you. I just know the Bills' run offense is really good. That is the one thing I can trust and hang my hat on. But then the Jaguars' run defense has been pretty dang good this year. But again, like you said, who have they played? That's what you got to look at too. It's not the Bills' run offense. They haven't played the Rams run offense. They haven't played those types of teams recently, I should say.
I would say and it didn't go well for them at all.
It didn't go well, I should say, recently. Yeah. It didn't go well for them, right? And that's what the playoffs are. You're facing a bunch of elite units or very good units, and I think the AFC is wide open. I do feel good about the Jags overall. We'll talk about the other side of the ball too. But okay, so the best thing that the Jags have done since week 10, they're a great blitzing team. I brought this up Sunday night. But their first knee paper pass when they blitz, second in success rate, their first interception rate. They don't get a ton of sacks, but they get a good amount of pressures. But then you're going against Josh Allen, who historically has shredded the blitz. Shredded. That's actually the scariest thing to do against Josh Allen is to blitz him. Now, having said that, I've seen Steve Spagnuolo, convolute Josh Allen with some timely blitzes. So I think that's maybe what you say. It's very timely with your stuff. And that's hard to predict for me as a neutral analyst. I don't know when they're going to do it, but they're very good against the blitz. But Josh Allen, it's been kind of middle of the pack this year against the blitz. I think some of their O-line rules have been kind of gamed up. They become a little predictable, all the orbit motions and the split back stuff, and guarantee at one point when they enter the 30-yard line, the Bills are going to run a play action with a running back leak through. Where he leaks through the other side and runs the wheel. I guarantee it. They will run it once. That should have been my Hail Mary. That they'll run that play at least once in this game, because Joe Brady has no ideas what's inside the 30. He just runs the same every single week. Tons of mesh. But that's the thing. Jaguars defense, pretty astute and pretty well game planned. So you have to throw in some new curveballs and everything. I know I don't want to shrug my shoulders at this side of the ball. The Jaguars have played well against bad offenses or weaker quarterbacks. Now you're going against the Dragon. I know that they're not the favorite to me to win the play or to make it to the Super Bowl, I would say, but they still have, I think, maybe the top ranked quarterback, May and everything. There's other guys in here that are good, but I think Allen is the guy right now. So that's going to be really fun just to watch that matchup. I would say the one little scheme thing too, multi-tight end looks. The Bills, they'll run jump. Well, they didn't run jumbo so much this year, but Jackson Hawes, they'll do the Reggie Gilliam stuff. They Knox, Kincaid, they love the tight end stuff this year. That's should be one of their strengths. Jags defense is kind of middle of the pack against those looks. They don't let up a ton of explosives, but you can kind of get them a little bit, make them more simplistic. That's the classic advantage you try to do when you get heavy bodies out there. So maybe look for some more heavier sets from the Bills against this defense that can be a little wacky. Anything more on this side of the ball? I want to flip it to Jags O, Bills D.
No, that's where I go. That's where I was going to go. We can flip it. Yeah.
All right, Jags O, Bills D. What you think about this one? This is a hot offense, maybe one of the hottest offenses in the NFL. going against a great. Me and you have a lot of respect for Sean McDermott. Well, I think I don't want to totally speak for you, but you and I kind of go, this guy can drop a game plan. Playoff Sean McDermott should be really interesting, but going against a Jags offense that's been really hot in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I guess where I get caught up on the Bills here is I'm just not sure if the talent is consistent enough maybe to kind of take down where the Jaguars have been, because I really do think Sean McDermott gets too much flack sometimes. When he talks about like the Bills are underperforming, man, the expectations are really high, and you're here every year. Like I know you have Josh Allen. I know it's not like the toughest division in the world, but still, like to be in this spot every year where you have like the expectations that you can win a Super Bowl. I do feel like sports fans have kind of lost track of how difficult that is to do year in and year out. Every single year you're here. But I just don't know if they have the talent right now to kind of get this done, because where Jacksonville has been really good is obviously since the Jacoby Myers trade. They've been way more consistent on offense. They've really leveled out. We've seen some massive games from Trevor Lawrence. Who on the Bills secondary is like you're saying, we got to avoid that guy. And they've had those guys in the past, and they've had really good defenses in the past. And right. It's Benford.
Outside Benford.
It's Benford.
Yeah, but
right.
Yeah, that's it.
He ain't doing Revis, he's not the scariest cornerback you've ever seen. He's a good player.
No, he's not Stingley. He's not PS2. Yeah. No,
right, exactly. So it's like, man, like you're going in there with one guy who's a good starter, and then the rest of it can be taken advantage of. I mean, I think what kind of makes me sad sometimes watching these defenses, like with Matt Milano, you can see the injuries have really piled up on him. Like he's not the same player that he used to be.
He was so
It does,
good.
Yeah. He was so good.
I know.
And now I'm thinking about like, man, like you've gotten kind of slow on the back end. And sometimes Jacksonville, they can be a little bit inconsistent, especially in the rushing game, especially in the run game. But they ETN can hit the big runs when they're there, and that's where I get concerned. It's kind of like similar-ish to the Bucs, but not quite as bad. Like if you can get out in space against Buffalo, and you can make those guys have to run, I think there's a chance for big plays. So when you see, obviously like Jacoby Myers, he's going to have his chances to catch over the middle of the field and get on the field. But ETN, I want to see how they try to deploy him, because man, like you can hit the home run with him, even if it's not going to be, down and down consistent like you might like. They still do have this home run hitters. I think that's where the Bills defense gets a little scary in like these one sample games. Like obviously over the course of the season, I think the Bills, they're about average for an explosive play rate, but now you're looking at matchups. And I think if you can survive a couple of losses and the blinder plays, there's room for ETN to be maybe like your X factor in this game, while everyone else just does what they've done for the past few weeks.
I think that's a great point, because even the Bills' run defense since week 10, 31st rushing DVOA, 28th in explosive play rates allowed on design runs, 9%. That's so high. 30th in yards before contact, 29th in yards per run, 5 yards per run. 19th in rushing success rate since week 10, but 25th full season. They just let up opportunistic plays in the red zone. They also let up plays. I think that's a great point. It's the Bills' safeties have been what I've focused on because of how much these safeties are used in this defense. McDermott likes to change up the looks. He puts a lot on the safeties. And truly as two-way players and truly safeties, like, the literal name on the tin, like they are the safety of this defense. And I think they've been below average at the least, or at the most, I should say, throughout this year. So what you're saying about ETN being an X factor, I think that's a great call. Him or Tootin, because Tootin's got some big play ability as well. But what happens? Who lets up explosive plays? It's the safety's not coming down, or the safety's getting blocked. And the Jaguars got some great blocking receivers right now. Myers is a good blocker. Parker Washington's a good blocker. And I know that sounds silly to highlight that. Those guys are blocking the safeties. So if they're keen on doing that and they kick him out, boom, that's a big play. That's a 15-yarder. That's a touchdown. If they do it right, that's why you hat on a hat. The Jags offense, the run game, the passing game has been great since Jacoby Myers. I feel like this is the 5th week in a row I brought up these stats, but they're 4th in success rate, 3rd in explosive passes, 8th in DVOA, or 8th in overall DVOA, 5th in passing DVOA. The run game's been boom bust. 27th rushing DVOA, 31st in running back rushing success rate, but they've hit explosives. So that is how does McDermott just go, okay, we're going to let you get this because we don't think you're threatening enough? Do they have a game plan thing? Do they have some aspect? I would bet that the Jaguars are going to find a way. They have, even when the run game hasn't been great, they find a way. They're really well game. These are two really well game planned coaching staffs, the Jaguars offense and the Bills defense. McDermott's got a little bit more run, but it's not like Liam Cohn's never coached a playoff game. He's been with the Rams, it's not like these guys are totally new to it all. But yeah, I think and I thought the passing defense and again, with McDermott and game planning the stuff, will be really interesting. I thought he blitzed more in the playoffs, and I looked it up. He actually blitzes a little bit less in the playoffs. It's more timely blitzes. I think that I almost, again, Hail Mary guarantee prediction, whatever you want to call it. I bet you they bring a couple corner blitzes. McDermott likes to do that in these types of games. That's the knuckleball that he'll throw. So look for a corner blitz, especially when Etienne's in there, because that's the weakness of Etienne, is pass pro. And it's not even just ability, it's eyes. His eyes are horrible. He has no idea where to look. That's just how he is. He's multiple coaching staffs have tried. No one can figure it out with him. So it's one of those, this is where game planning comes in. All right, LaQuint Allen's in, we're not going to blitz. Etienne's in or Tutin's in, all right, blitz. That's how it works when you get into these matchups. But again, this is the last stat I'll leave it off on, is the Bills passing defense, middle of the pack, 14th DVOA. All right, these are the things, though, since week 10. They're 30th in sack rate, 30th in pressure rate, 27th in third down conversion rate, 32nd in EPA versus scrambles. You know who has the second most rushing first downs of any quarterback this year? Trevor Lawrence. And that's not all sneaks. That's him scrambling. That's him on design runs. So it might be a Trevor running day. I don't know. When I look for natural answers, even if the Jags run game isn't great, I think they have a lot of natural answers here. I really do. I think this passing game's legit. Might be a little tighter against McDermott defense, but it's not like this is an overwhelming unit. And to cap it off, Jaguars got a little bit of a special teams advantage too. Cam Little does a lot of that, but they're 5th in DVOA on special teams. The Bills are middle of the pack. So that was the last thing I wanted to end it on. Any last thoughts before the prediction?
Yeah, I find it interesting. The safeties point's good because Sean McDermott defense, they've got one of the lowest coverage rates in the whole league. You're gonna get a lot of too high. If you're gonna play like that, those guys, they gotta fit the run. That's the one thing good. I find. They gotta be good. You have Micah and Hyde and Jordan Poyer in the prime, that works. And it's been interesting that it's interesting that they haven't made another investment, a sizable investment in that position, because watching DeMar Hamlin and really whoever else they've had back there, it's been easy pick. And
Poyer again.
That's where Poyer again. Poyer, I forgot. Yeah, old Poyer. Yeah. That's why that might be where you try to isolate someone if you're a Jaguars. If you can get Etienne on a safety, in open field, maybe that can be a source of big plays for us. So I'm interested to see how that works out.
Yeah. And also how safety play, how you attack that is throwing over the middle. Diggs and everything, and Trevor's been a top 5 in breaker thrower since they got Jacoby Myers because he trusts his guys now. So that's another. Cole Bishop I haven't been very keen on. Wasn't as a prospect and as a pro. It's just not the right defense for him. He's I like him better in the Broncos defense or something like that. Something where he can play a little more man and play down in the box where he's a robber and stuff. But too high is not exactly his strength. So they're kind of the safeties in this game on both sides are kind of I think what offenses are going to attack and kind of how they play is going to decide a lot. All right. Like I said before, Bills are 1-point favorites. Predictions.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm just going to roll the Bills.
Okay, I'll go with the Jags. I'll go with the Jags here.
So I got to stay consistent. So I'm going with the Bills.
I like that. I know. That was some gut picks for the bracket because we did it 5 days ago now before I broke all these games down. So I'm gonna go with the Jags.
5 days ago, not yesterday.
We're recording this on Tuesday, right? Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I'm just even looking at these 3 games. I'm very very excited for this one. I think I mean, all of these games I'm excited to watch. It's freaking playoff football, but man, this game's going to be cool. Like there's a lot of good to it, these teams, and good quarterbacks in my estimation, but also some weaknesses that are very pickable and some good coaching staff. So it's going to be pretty fun. All right, we're going to take our last break and then we'll wrap it up with the last 3 wildcard games. See you guys in a sec. All right, we are back. 49ers, Eagles. A rematch of an NFC Championship game from a few years ago that started. Did it start? It started Josh Johnson, right? Or was it like Josh Johnson had to come in after like 5 days because Purdy got hurt on like the first play or something like that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was just, you don't see championship games.
They had no quarterbacks.
Like yeah.
They had no quarterbacks. And it just kind of, it created the worst discourse of like any playoff game that I can remember, I think, where Eagles fans were just like, he should have just played better. I'm like, dude, come on, God. We're talking about putting Christian McCaffrey in a quarterback in the third quarter. All right. And I think it's okay for 49ers fans to feel like they might have had a better chance if the quarterback if any quarterback could have played in that game. You know, and then it just gets forgotten so fast. Gets forgotten so fast.
I know.
We crushed them.
Right.
Yeah, you should have. You should have crushed them. They didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
Literally, they didn't have one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Purdy went 4 for 4, got sacked. I remember he got hurt. He had like the elbow or whatever, the wrist, the hand, whatever. Josh Johnson comes in, goes 7 of 13 for 74 yards, 2 sacks. And then Christian McCaffrey had to pass the test. They looked like they ran no plays either, if I had to count these up. Yeah.
They couldn't.
They couldn't.
They're trying to get out of there.
Oh, my God.
Just trying to get out of there in the second half to go home.
They had 164 total yards. Oh, yeah, they had 3 fumbles. That's right. They had 11 penalties. They had as many penalties as they did first downs. Yeah. Typical what you see from a Kyle Shanahan offense. But, all right, 49ers, Eagles. Eagles are 5-point favorites. This keeps climbing up slowly but surely. This one is happening in Philly at the Link. What are you keening in on this game? Focusing on this game, Chuck?
Oh, man. Can anyone on the 49ers defense step up here? Is anyone capable? I guess that's the question.
I don't know, man.
I don't know either. I don't know either. Like, it's bad out here. I mean, and I look, I understand like why Robert Saleh is getting looks for head coach stuff. Like, you've been a successful defensive coordinator in the past, but wouldn't you like to see a little bit more here? Like, once guys start dropping, and it's tough. Like, obviously, that's very difficult to coach around. But like the guy on the other side of the field, your boss did it. Like, when all his offensive players started dropping like flies, you still have a top 3 offense. Like, this has become basically an unplayably bad defense at times. Like, even the Bears game a couple of weeks ago, just shot after shot after shot after shot. And luckily your offense is good enough on the other side that you were able to survive it. But man, they're so juiceless, and they don't really do anything to like try to alleviate that either. Robert Saleh, he's going to call what he calls, for better or worse. They don't have enough talent right now to just like sit back and 4-man rush and try to keep things in front of them. So that's where obviously like the pitfall is for the 49ers defense. Not healthy enough, not talented enough as currently constructed. Then there's the Eagles offense. Like, man, you guys haven't been good really all season. I mean, in the back half of the season, they've been flatly a below average offense. The only thing they've done well is like if they can get to the red zone, they can score, and they don't take a whole lot of sacks. That's about it. But everything else has just kind of been, it's been like slog. So like the only reason why I think I can't get quite a feel on this side of the ball is because I still just don't understand how this collection of players for the Eagles, for like going on 2 seasons now, like you're having not as impressive runs as you should throughout the regular season. And this year is just flat out like not good. So maybe it'll come back to bite them later. Maybe this isn't the week, but 49ers defense, they don't have enough talent and they don't change anything up. But then you got Jalen Hurts. I don't know. This is slop, this side of the ball. This is complete slop, There's no reason why the Eagles should look this bad. Like, on paper, I should say, oh my God, they're going to score 40 points. And it's not going to be close. But that hasn't happened for them this year.
I know. It really hasn't. It's so like, it's the weirdest thing. I think the Eagles offense is below average. They rely too much on explosive plays, all this stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, they still have the advantage on the 49ers defense because, all right, you mentioned it. Like, this has been frustrating for me, but I respect Salah. I've seen him put together good defenses and everything, but also he has that kind of Legion of Boom. I've gone on this rant a little bit on recently, has that kind of Legion of Boom philosophy in his head. So when I say that is that the Legion of Boom, those Seahawks defenses, they ran cover 3 and man coverage every single play. And I mean that almost literally, like 90% of the time. I've only seen a couple defenses ever get away with that. Like the Otts Bears would run cover 2 a bunch. Right? That's one of those defenses. You know what all those defenses have in common that just run a couple coverages? They have Hall of Famers and All Pros and Pro Bowlers throughout, or all 3 levels. And that's when I look at even Salah with the Jets or his early 49ers teams. He had an incredible pass rush with the 49ers. Remember that Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, Bosa as a rookie, Fred Warner, the best linebacker in the game, multiple DBs. I know it was Richard Sherman on the tail end of his career and everything. But those defenses, he still runs the same system. It's still the bones of that Legion of Boom cover 3 match stuff is still there. They just run out of quarters and they run out of 3 buzz, what they call it. Now, it's still cover 3, but it's just where the safety rotates. But the thing when you do that and you don't blitz a ton, they're 23rd in blitz rate this year, and it's kind of simplistic blitzes, is that you have to win with your front 4. Well, your first round picks hurt. Your defensive player of the year candidates hurt on IR. Okay, you got Bryce Huff out there. Okay. That's not very threatening. If you're just a neutral fan, name a defensive tackle for the 49ers. Like, name a pass rusher for them right now. And they're not blitzing to make it crazy on the offense and live and die by the sword kind of thing, gash or be gash. They're just taking punches to the face and saying, oh yeah, the quarterback will make a mistake. What if they don't? Like, this is what it looks like. Nobody's threatening you. So like, this is just full season stats. They're the lowest pressure and sack rate in the NFL, 32nd in sacks, 20 sacks on the whole year. That's like Falcons numbers. You know those numbers. 32nd in sack rate, 30th in pressure rate. They're 28th in EPA versus receiver targets. What does Jalen Hurts target more than anything? His receivers, and then a little bit of Dallas Goedert. They're not going to target the slot. They run a decent bit of zone, but they don't do the zone coverage that makes it hard on Hurts. Hurts gets caught against zone when you disguise it. All right, we're showing single high, we go to 2 high. We're showing a blitz, we get to cover 2. That's what makes Hurts do the bounce, Bill from the back of the pocket, run to his right. Like, that's how you get him to play like that, which is what you want. You live and die with him outside the pocket. Lane Johnson is playing at right tackle. So there's another advantage for the Eagles again. And then I just looked, and it's like, now that 49ers too, Eric Kendricks is starting a linebacker for them because they had another linebacker injury. Like, and so I don't know. Like, even if I don't think the Eagles offense is great, I mean, every stat you look at, they're 24th in rushing DVOA. Like I said, they have Lane Johnson back, but like passing game wise, it's just how you can kind of like, it's just like those explosives to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. That's what they're going to live and die by. And I think that they'll have that advantage because I just don't think that Salah and this defense lacking teeth is just going to like convolute him and make him go into chaos mode that you want him to get to. It's not going to be like Bowles making him scramble to the left over and over and over again. This is not that type of defense. If he knows what he's getting, he can probably find the answers over and over, especially with the receivers that he's got. So it's the other side of the ball that I'm thinking is interesting because then you got the 49ers offense, which has just been, I mean, pretty dang good in the back half of the season. Even before that, but the run game has picked up. It's turned into a top 5 run game over the back half of the season. And at the beginning of the season, it was basically bottom 10, which is huge going against this Eagles defense. I think that's the way to attack them because I think they're so good in coverage. But the weaknesses to me to this Eagles defense, I also want to say this, is that it's one of the best defenses remaining. Since week 10, since their week 9 bye, 5th in DVOA, they're 5th in pressure rate, 8th in success rate, 7th in EPA per play, better against the pass than the run in all those metrics. But the run, they're more like above average. Pass, they're very good. But the weaknesses to this Eagles defense, some of the strengths of the 49ers. Scrambles, they're 31st in EPA versus scrambles. Brock Purdy, one of his strengths. Targets to running backs, which I think is interesting, and it makes a lot of sense considering who covers the running backs for the Eagles, the linebackers. 27th in success rate, 28th in yards per attempt, 7.1, 25th in EPA per pass, 30th in explosive plays to running back targets. You know who's really good catching the football for the 49ers? Christian McCaffrey. So, again, a natural answer for the 49ers. Having said that, it's really, I think it's going to come down to how the 49ers execute on third down how they execute in the red zone. I looked up. I'll take a deep breath for a second and come back. But there's some interesting matchups between. I know I just rambled a lot because, but there's some interesting Shanahan versus Fangio splits from their past matchups that I do want to bring up. But this side of the ball, Chuck, anything on top of kind of what I laid out? I think the Eagles defense is very good, and I think the 49ers offense is very good. But they're also missing Trent Williams, missing Ricky Pearsall. So I kind of give the slight advantage to the Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I expect the 49ers to have more success than they did against the Seahawks last weekend. But I'm kind of looking at this in a similar perspective. It's like, okay, both these units are good. The 49ers offense statistically has been better than the Eagles defense over the back half of the season. But when the players line up against each other, that's where I get concerned about this. Who has the best matchup? Because last week, going into that game, I was like, okay, cool. Like, you're scoring a bunch of points, but here comes a defense filled with a bunch of, goblins like dragging chainsaws across the ground everywhere. And it looked exactly like that. They got their ass kicked. Yeah, they got their ass kicked, like physically just manhandled. That could happen again here, especially if Jalen Carter is locked in and playing like as good as we know that he can be. That's where I think that this game can get scary, because they didn't have anything for Seattle up front. Like when this came for mano, you got to block that guy and move that guy. They just really didn't have anything. And it's not that level of depth, like that many waves of guys who are good coming at you, but like the peak of it is about as strong as you can find in the NFL. And that's where I get worried. Luckily for this game, like you do have Brock Purdy, and his elbow probably won't disintegrate and the backup won't get hurt, and you want to play your running back at quarterback. But it's still like a tough challenge, especially if you're going to be out without Trent, you're going to be without Ricky Pearsall. Now you're getting to like, okay, we would really, really have to scheme this out to score points. And that's a tough spot to be in the playoffs, because the other guy is a pretty good schemer too, and his players are better right now.
One of the best. And that's why I picked out. I was like, have these guys matched up? I'm sure they've matched up a couple times. Kyle Shanahan versus Vic Fangio. Two play callers that have called a lot of football games, hundreds of football games as coordinators, as actual play callers, not guys that get jobs that just go, yeah, I didn't call plays. Give me the job. I'm going to call plays now. They've only played against each other, though, 4 times, which actually was a little fewer than I thought. Makes sense, divisions they played in. So it was two games when Shanahan was with the 49ers and Fangio was with the Bears. So it's 2017 and 2018. And then 2011 and 2013 when Shanahan was with Washington and Fangio was with the 49ers. Points scored per drive by Kyle Shanahan those 4 games. 1 point per drive. The total points scored in those 4 matchups for Kyle Shanahan's offenses: 15, 11, 9, and 6. And rushing success rate wise, kind of, a little more below average what you see from a Shanahan offense. 37% and change, below that 40% mark you want to hit. But passing game, and I know Purdy in this passing game is better than RG3 outside of his rookie year. One of these was his rookie year. But also actually, no, it wasn't 2011. No, was that? No, 2012 was his rookie year because we're the same class. But no, also low explosive play rates, especially against the run, but negative 0.17 EPA per play Shanahan's offense has had. They only had 1 red zone touchdown on 11 red zone trips. And that is a stat I double checked and triple checked because I couldn't believe that. 1 touchdown on 11 trips. That's crazy good. So I think Fangio has had the advantage. I think this 49ers offense is better than what he's wielded in the past against these defenses. But I do think that, man, it's like Fangio's kind of got his number. He always plays these kind of offenses well because his initial structure of his offenses is perfect against this, or of his defenses. The 2-eye defense, quarter shell, rotating the 3, rotating from there. That works really well against motion and works really well against outside hitting zone plays that these teams base off of. That's one way teams have gotten against the Eagles a little bit, but they've gotten so much better against zone runs this year. I know Shanahan's kind of changed up his run attack, but again, the Eagles have a lot of answers, and Fangio's kind of had Shanahan's number in their past matchups. So it's not like this thing where I'm like, he's going to have something. It's like, I don't know. You kind of got him in the past. And then I kind of looked at the one thing. I think it's going to come down to third down. So it's like the 49ers really want to execute. It's not going to be winning first and second down like Shanahan likes to do. They have to execute on third down. Watching him, like you brought up the Seahawks defense, doesn't make me optimistic because of how good the Seahawks defense played against this passing attack. And Fangio is a good coordinator too. But the Eagles defense are 31st in average distance to go on third down, 29th in stuff rate versus runs, so TFLs and gains of 0, and 21st in third down conversion rate. So I think it's going to come down to Purdy's legs, how well the run game's going, and how they execute on third down once they get into the red zone. Like, really, that's what's going to come down to. Good football matchup, I think, would be the best way to put it. Eagles are 5-point favorites at home. What's your prediction for the game, Chuck?
I picked the 49ers on my bracket, so I'm going to stick with it. I don't feel I did pick the 49ers on my bracket only because the Eagles offense, they've just looked so discombobulated this year. And this is purely a vibes-based thing. It's not like even reasonable when you start sifting through the data, but the vibes have been so bad this year. It just seems like they got to lose in the wild card round. It just seems like they got to do it. I like, the more I talk this out, I don't think that like they're actually the worst team here. I think they match up pretty well, but I just don't trust them. I don't know. You've been crying all season. Like, you got some of the best players in the league, and your offense has been bad. I don't know. Maybe the overall better coach team gets you in this one, and that's my reasoning. But I picked the 49ers as my bracket, so I'm going to stay consistent.
I'm going with the Eagles, but it's like, I think the Eagles got their best matchup. If they went against a lot of these other teams in the first round, I wouldn't have liked them as much. Like, I just think that they matched up well against this team. That's really it. It's that, is their offense great? No, I think it's a bottom 10, 12 unit this year. But the 49ers defense, I can legit say is a bottom 5 unit without even looking at a stat. Just watch that freaking Colts game. Watch what Philip Rivers was doing to this defense. I know stuff happened, but it was like, man, he was just able to pick them apart. So yeah, I am going with the Eagles, even if they're a very, very frustrating team. All right.
Yeah.
We'll keep it. We'll go back to the AFC. We got one more Sunday game and then the Monday game. This is the Sunday night game. We got the Chargers at the Patriots at Foxborough. Patriots are 3.5-point favorites at home. We got Justin Herbert. We got Drake May. We got some incomplete units in this matchup, though. Chuck, what are you going to focus on in this game?
I guess it's just health for the Chargers, or how much can you survive how unhealthy you are. Because, man, it would be nice if one of these years they were actually at full power to play in one of these games.
I don't think they've ever been in my entire life.
Right, because like last year, you end up with the dumb takes, like where Justin Herbert ends up being a victim of his own competency, and why didn't you roll out there with your backup linemen and your backup wide receivers and beat the Texans? And man, because that's really hard to do. Okay, but everyone's like, someone's got to be good, someone's got to be bad. So I get why, if you love First Take, you fall in on that sword. But like, he might be good enough to drag them past this defense, because that's where I follow the Patriots. One, sure, Chargers incredibly banged up along the offensive line, like they have been all year. But the Patriots defense, this is not like a scary, a terrifying unit that's impossible to take down. Like, they've had their moments where they played well, and I think that they can play well against like some of the lesser talented teams in the league at times. But now you've got Herbert, and even though things haven't fallen apart around him to a degree, he's still playing really good football, and like that's it really. Where, like, when you look at the Patriots defense, it's kind of like Buffalo to a degree. Like, who are like the people that we're like really, really afraid of here? Like, if we were at full power, like, we probably would feel like we could score a whole bunch of points. I know, for the season, or really since week 10, the Patriots, like, they're 10th in points per drive. I just don't see a whole lot of difference makers play to play, and maybe you don't need them against an offense that's this banged up. And with Greg Roman, they're gonna do what they do regardless. We're gonna run our head into a brick wall. We're gonna try to be tough and physical.
This time it'll be different, Chuck. Yeah, this time it'll be different.
Yeah, do you know how we lost like our all-pro tackle duo? We lost our swing tackle, and we got some guys. We're gonna keep mashing it. Yeah, I don't know why it hasn't worked. Oh, we lost our Mario Hampton too. We're gonna keep smashing it.
Absolutely
right. And then but I don't know. I'm sick of watching it, but I do think Herbert has enough to just by himself potentially drag them over the top. I'm tired of watching it in this circumstance, though. You know, it's getting a little tedious,
It has been. You're not wrong though. It has been, because it just feels like a broken record. And then people that like don't watch any Chargers game are just going, stop making excuses for Herbert. It's like, I'm not freaking making excuses. I'm just pointing out literally what's happening. Like, it's watch what happened to this Charger. Right. I know this was a couple years ago, and when Herbert did get knocked out of the season because he's legit like a cyborg and so tough. I mean, look what he's playing with right now. His offhand. His offhand's all padded up and wrapped up and everything. You don't see that. You see guys complaining in the production meetings about how banged up they are, Baker Mayfield, and just saying about how they're playing through an injury. I was going to say another name, but I won't say anymore. But some guys seem to get a lot of leeway when they're hurt, and some guys it's just like, yeah, you have to be tough. You're a quarterback, and it's like, well, maybe if they don't, just because they're not complaining about it doesn't mean it's not there. Right. But God, it's such a frustrating offense. Greg Roman's so frustrating as a play caller. Patriots defense, though, I'll just start with that, is that they don't have a great pass rush. Milton Williams has now come back from injury, which is huge. But in the back half of this year, this defense has been very, very pickable. I think they're kind of more middle of the pack-ish. I think you can run on them a decent amount. I don't think the Chargers' run offense is scaring anybody, but as long as you're staying ahead of sticks.
So since week 12, they're last in the last six games of the season.
And Milton Williams coming back is going to help a little, but I still think it's like below average at best type of run defense. They're pretty predictable of how they play. Like, you know, you get more zone early downs, it turns into more man and late downs. I have said that they should play a bunch more man coverage because that's how you unlock Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis. But also, if you're on more man coverage, I think when they're in man, I looked it up, they're like 31st against the run when they're in man coverage. So I see why. Like, they're like, screw that. Like, we'll just be bend but don't break. I don't know. You're going against probably the best quarterback they played outside of Josh Allen this year, just off the top of my head. Trying to think who else they played, because they didn't play KC. They didn't play they didn't play the
Lamar Jackson. But
they played Lamar. Yeah. And so I'm just trying to think. Yeah, but they're going against this offensive line stinks. Salier might be playing left tackle, I think, for the Chargers. That's how you have to get after them. The run offense isn't great. They'll design some stuff. I'm sure they'll get some things, but it's kind of like I'm shrugging my shoulders at both units. That's basically what I'm doing. It's if either can execute, I don't know. The Patriots defense isn't like super exotic where I'm seeing stuff and I go like, yeah, that's going to convolute it. That's going to mess up their protections. You know, I don't know. It's one of these sides of the ball.
That's
I don't know. I'm shrugging my shoulders at this side. I just want to just see it because I don't want to I can't hang my how about this? I can't hang my hat on anything on these two sides other than I know Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis are good man coverage. I know Milton Williams is good, and I know Justin Herbert's really good. And when Justin Herbert's not pressured, he's going to shred you. But when he's pressured, that's when bad stuff happens to his team. The Texans game most recently is a great example of that. Run the ball for 1 yard, boom, offensive line. Also, rewatching that game, the offensive line went to the wrong guy in the run game like 6 times out of their first 10 run plays and also botched 3 protections. So you don't even have to do anything crazy to convolute this offensive line and what they want to do. But yeah, it's going to come down to how Herbo plays and whether he can stay up. Really, that's how I feel. I wish I had something more than that. I think the other side of the ball is a little bit more interesting. If you want to dive into that.
Yeah, the last thing I have on the Patriots defense is like when you start kind of digging through like the film and the numbers, I think the interesting thing, like a lot of teams, they have a split between their success rate and their EPA over the back half of the season. So he's like trying to find, all right, where situation is it that's pushing you towards like higher value plays? It's like, is it turnovers? Yeah. Nope. 23rd in turnover percentage over the back half of the season. Okay. So like, is it third down? Kind of. They're 25th in overall third down conversion, but they're first and third and long conversion, their defense over the back half of the season, 14%. 14% of third and long plays have been converted for a first down. Okay. So now this is like you're looking at like a high variance aspect of a high variance aspect, third and long. But hey, if you can win there, then the Chargers probably won't score many points just because they're so banged up and they don't have the infrastructure. Like, and because I look at this defense like, man, of course, it's not even different from like what you were running last year. Really, you just have better players. It's all similar. It's like very similar stuff, you know. So you got Milton Williams, Christian Gonzalez is healthy. Those guys obviously matter, and I think to me that's like the biggest difference on the defense. Just better players, better talent, but it's moving about the same. I think. I mean, their success rates are about the same from last year on defense, but the EPA is way higher because your players are better, probably. Yeah.
That probably helps. They can make a few more plays when they're actually around the ball.
More plays, right?
I think anecdotally too, not anecdotally, but I looked up a stat a few weeks ago was that the Patriots. When I wrote about them before is that they're very stereotypical on defense in the sense that they're good against the run on early downs, but then they're bad against the run on late downs. I think they're like dead last. Like it was something like on third and fourth down runs, they had led up like 25 of 28 to go for a first down. Something ridiculous, not just short yardage, but like if you run the ball on 3rd and 5, run the ball on 3rd and 6, you can run on them. Maybe that's because of the man coverage stuff. And like I said before, again, they're kind of easy to kind of know what you're getting out of them. There's not a lot of disguise that really boggles my mind when I review them and everything. And then on early downs, you can throw explosive passes against them, but they can kind of hold you down. But you're going against Greg Roman, who's like the most missionary style game plan, play caller that you can get. We're going to run on 1st and 2nd down. We run on the goal line at short yardage and we pass on 3rd down. There's no like changing. There's no like weird shot, like screwball that he throws at you. It's just all very traditional, which is, again, very frustrating. All right. Other side of the ball. I think this one's fun. I think Drake May versus Jesse Minter is going to be a very cool matchup. But what are you focusing on this one? Also, the Patriots run offense has really picked up in the back half of the year. They're 7th in rushing DVOA since week 10, 10th in rushing success rate. So it's not just the big Henderson, big plays. They're just getting a little bit more on base. And this is when Will Campbell's been hurt. So that is a positive aspect of this Patriots offense right now.
Yeah, it is. And it really helps when your quarterback is really good. I have been so surprised at like the amount of pushback that has come. Like when people say, Drake May, like maybe he's gonna be, I don't get it. Why not? Like
you should be excited.
Right. You should be excited. I really don't understand. I don't get anything about how
do you know what it is?
The sport.
I've talked to our mutual friends about this. Is with Drake May specifically and him being an MVP this year, if he was an MVP, you either have other national analysts either have to admit they were wrong with his evaluation or they have to admit that QB development is happening. It's one of those two. Admit that QB development's happening or admit that you're wrong with his evaluation. And no one wants to do it. So then they go, no, he's not MVP. That's how I see it. Not us. Yeah. We knew May was a dude. But
he top 12 in efficiency metrics by the end of the season last year. I mean, this was always coming.
He had
with the worst coaching situation ever,
no one noticed it. He was eighth highest rookie success rate as a quarterback, like in the last 15, 20 years. Like he had a great season. Just everyone was just, Patriots need new blood. They need to help them out. They need development, footwork. Everyone talks about footwork experts left and right. But apparently he cleaned that up. But apparently that's why he's good now. But yes, anyways. What you think about this side of the ball? Rant's over. Just had to get that out of the way.
It's just insane. Like I just don't understand how these people are consuming the sport. Like where this doesn't excite you. You would say, wow, like this team that just picked 4th overall could have had the 1 seed, but no, their quarterback's not an MVP candidate. What's going on here? And also, like, if your takes are that important to you, hey, you guys do know, like, if you're wrong, no one's going to come to your house and, like, shoot you or beat you up, right? Like,
no.
You can just say you were wrong on the internet, and that's fine.
And show that you learned from it.
Or you just close out the app and then call your mom. Like, that works, too. It's
Tyler, the creator. Log off.
Yeah, just log off. Just log off. Just log off. But, okay. But to me, why he, like, unequivocally should be the MVP is this team around him is not that good. They're just not that good.
Oh,
and still
Matt Collins.
Matt Collins and Keyshawn Booty,
Henry.
Like guys that we were like, oh man, you've got to get a whole new cast of guys in here. And I would still say the same thing. You've still got to get a whole new cast of guys in there because this is 100% quarterback led. And still, over the back half of the season. Got a 19% explosive pass rate, first in the league. 54% dropback rate, first in the league. 0.3 EPA per dropback, first in the league. Air yards per attempt, 9.8, first in the league. Yards per dropback, 8 yards per attempt, or 8 yards per dropback, excuse me, first in the league. What else do you need to see here? And this is what you can. This is with so much room to improve. You could tell me that the Patriots need three new receivers. Okay, why not? I mean, you could do a whole lot better than what they got. They need more offensive linemen. I would agree, and you're still here. Like to me, it's one of the most impressive. It might be like the most impressive sophomore season that I've ever seen. And we're saying, people say, oh, they didn't play anybody, schedule's weak. And of course, that's how that works. When you pick fourth overall, you get a last place schedule, right? You can only play who's in front of you. But I'm not seeing any other fourth place teams do this, and their quarterbacks do this.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy's special. And he's so special that I don't really have any complaints or concerns about him going. Maybe it's insane because this is his first playoff game. Maybe this is insane. I don't really have any qualms about him going against this Chargers defense and how Jesse Minter likes to put things together. I know it's a good defense, and Jesse Minter is going to, especially in this playoff game, I know he's going to throw the book at him. Try to do stuff that's going to confuse him. Try to get him off his game. Going to blitz. They're probably going to look at the trenches and say, if we can get like early season a defensive line play back, we got an advantage here in the trenches for the Chargers. And then, I'm running back through Drake May's season. I'm seeing him like last second flip. Like, which team was it they played? He threw a whole shot over the middle. And I mean, it was against cover. No, not a whole shot, but like a middle of the field throw against cover two. And there's like three defenders, like the safeties are pinching down. And then you got the linebacker closing in. And he dropped it right in between all three of them. Like a 40-yard gain. I was like, what was that? And no one seems to be losing their mind. Like, we're talking about 300-yard passing games when he still finished top 5 in passing yards. This guy is good. And I wish it wouldn't take like us to get here for us to talk about it like this, because I really just can't understand why there's any pushback at all for him being the MVP this year. I mean, what has happened this year? It's one of the most remarkable year 2 seasons you will ever see from any quarterback. And like and the crazy thing is the more like you flip the air yards, right? You make the air yards go out, like 10 plus yards, 12 plus yards. He's still completing like better. 70% of his passes. He gets better. I don't know. And what I know the last discourse thing that I have that drove me crazy that I've seen is, like, you missed how good Drake May was last year, right? So now we do this thing where every rookie quarterback's kind of like a blank canvas, and they all have the same chances of success. If we just give them an offensive line, supporting cast, any quarterback can figure it out. It's obviously not true. That's ridiculous. No. That's ridiculous. But like you said, how do you explain like him getting from where he was last year, which is already top 12, to here, unless he was already good last year? Right. He's not jumping from quarterback. Right. He's not jumping from quarterback 25 to quarterback 1. And guess what? Your quarterback that actually had a bad year last year won't be doing that, no matter who you put around him. So just celebrate this one. And I just think he might be at a point where every defense that he plays against should be fearful of him. Because even the Ravens game, dude, that was insane the way he brought him back in the second half. And that was a good Ravens defense at that point in the season. So I don't know. He's really good. He's like almost infallible to me. And I just cannot believe people are pushing back on the MVP stuff. I hate that he plays the Patriots so much. It's disgusting. They don't deserve this, but here we are.
As a neutral fan, and as someone that grew up like hating Patriots, hating the Cowboys, and here I am defending their quarterbacks like all the time. Like I felt like maybe not so much this year, but in the past, I've always was defending the Cowboys. Like, and I'm just like, hey, I don't know why you guys are so hard on Dak. Like, look at this, and this. And if you told me that when I was 7, I'd be like, what? I'm not defending those teams. But same with the Patriots. It's like, if I were a neutral fan, I would be, or a fan of another team, I'd be annoyed too that they got another quarterback. And no, he's not exactly like Brady. And I think that's what makes it so cool. He's not a Brady clone. He's a freaking John Elway clone. Like, that's who he plays like. And that's what's cool. Like, I don't know. It should be, and I get it. But I think what gets frustrating is so many people bring up, oh, there's no new young quarterbacks. We have a problem. It's like, yeah, no. Look what's going on in New England. Look what's happening in Chicago. Like, look what these guys are doing right now. Look at even happening in Tennessee with Cam Ward. Like, and like these young guys are showing so much glimpses of cool stuff. Everyone just wants to hate it and fight it because it didn't align with what they were thinking on something. But no, I just getting into this breakdown of this matchup. Oh, and also last thing about the MVP, thing. If May did win MVP, he would be the first guy ever to win MVP without another Pro Bowler on his offense, on his unit. So he wouldn't have another.
That's what I'm saying. They're not good. They're not a good team yet.
Stephon Diggs had a nice year, but Stephon Diggs is like late career Chris Carter. Chain mover from the slot, catches everything, dink and dunk, 6 to 10 yard gains. It's not like, in a perfect world, he's a really good number 2. But it's not like he has an ace. And Will Campbell, the first round pick who played well, has been out half the year. Matt Collins is catching dig routes from. I had Denzel Boston.
Matt Collins,
who played with Josh Allen last year. It wasn't like, Matt Collins has played on bad offenses and they were just like, no, we're good. Joshua Palmer, come on in. Like they wanted to get rid of him. It's, and Booty's played so well. I think our friend Bill Barnwell had a great thing about this where I think it was overexpected catch rate, where it was like 3 of the top guys were Patriots. And then he goes, so it's either that they all became Jerry Rice overnight or the quarterback has something to do with that. Which do you think it is? Like just kind of laying it out. Do you think Kayshon Boutte became Jerry Rice overnight? Or do you think Drake May is really good? I don't know. But just bringing down this matchup, like you mentioned, like Minter, who's so good game planning. The screwball, the knuckleball, the changeup, the off-speed pitch, I think he's going to throw in this game is dropping 8 into coverage. And I think this is what he's going to do. Like that's my inkling. The Bucs did this and it fascinated me because that was the one thing I've seen when you're talking about with May and no qualms and everything. Like the only thing I got is like his hand size isn't perfect. So sometimes he can get the ball batted away from him. That's like it. That's really what I got. And I know I've been Mr. May and all that. I try to not be obnoxious about it. I could literally do a breakdown of him every single week and I could do 10 minutes of Twitter clips every single week. And I just don't do that because I understand how obnoxious that could be. But he is one of the dudes, guys. Like he's a top 5 guy, like pretty locked in. But dropping into coverage, Todd Bowles did this. And there was the one thing that slowed him down. So I looked it up on Next Gen Stats. May versus drop 8 this year. 13 dropbacks, so not crazy. 5 for 12, 79 yards, 1 pick, 29.5 QB rating. Only 3 successful dropbacks on those 13. So a 23.1% success rate, which is bottom 8 in the NFL. It's kind of funny who does and does not get drop 8. So it's like all the dudes at quarterback get the most drop 8. And then you look and it's like Shadur Sanders, 1 snap of drop 8. Jackson Dart, 2 snaps of drop 8. It's just basically defense coordinators like, we don't have to do this. Who has the highest drop 8 rate among all playoff teams? The Chargers, the 3rd highest rate in the NFL this year. And when they've played some dudes at quarterback, they use it a little bit more. 9 dropbacks against the Chiefs, where they dropped 8 in their first matchup when Patrick Mahomes was healthy. 3 against CJ Stroud, 3 against Dak Prescott. So this is something that he likes to do as a changeup. And I could see him doing it on every second and long, every third down. Just try and slow him down some way, make him work for it. Maybe your pass rush gets home and kind of makes it leaky. That's what happened with the Bucs game, is that the 3-man rush was kind of making it tight because May's trying to work from the pocket. Just one thing I'm keeping my eye on with this, because I think the run offense and the run defense is kind of a wash. The Chargers run defense is kind of pickable, 14th success rate, 21st in explosive runs allowed. But then the run game for the Patriots has been better, but I don't think it's outright good. I think it's more like an average to above average. So that's kind of a wash. So to me, it's May versus Minter, this pass defense. Chargers pass defense since week 10, 1st in interception rate, 4th and 3rd down rate, 7th in EPA versus the pass, 6th in overall DVOA. They're going to let you pepper them. So maybe some quick game from May and everything, but that's why you also drop 8. That's the best thing to do against quick game is drop 8, because you just 2-3 zone in basketball, just cut a bunch of bodies in the lanes, arms are up and all that stuff. So, and the last thing, sorry, this has been a fun discussion. So Chargers 24th in EPA versus tight end targets. So it might be a Hunter Henry week. I know we just laughed at him, but he is Mr. Solid. He's kind of he's the Kirk Cousins of tight ends. Like, that's how I view Hunter Henry. But that's one way you can get this Chargers team with all the too high stuff. It's just the angles of attack. So that's one little thing. So it might be a little tight end peppering type of matchup. But predictions for this game, like I said before, Patriots are 3.5 point favorites.
Going with the Patriots. I think they have MVP this year. And on the flip side, on defense, if Millen Williams is good to go, that's going to be real tough for the Chargers offense as they're currently constructed. They just don't have talent up front. So there's going to be another annoying week of Justin Herbert discourse, but Justin, we know how good you are. Let's just pray for good health next year.
No, our heart of hearts.
We got you back.
We know. Maybe they could hire Mike McDaniel. We could just have one of the coolest thought experiments. The two should have been Dolphins together. I'm also going with the Patriots. I think they cover. I don't think they're a perfect team. I don't think anybody is in the AFC, but I just do think they have enough against this Chargers team that I think Minter's really, really good. Like, he's earned my respect. I knew college guys had a lot of respect for him from what he did in Michigan. And when watching that stuff, they're very well game planned. Don't get me wrong, but his stuff's really good. They tackle really well. They get a lot of bodies near the ball, and that can make it hard on quarterbacks that, maybe don't want to be aggressive, but can be aggressive. And that's why I kind of feel like he's a decent matchup. Watch what CJ Stroud did. Like, they want to play top down. It's like a perfect quarters defense. Everything's top down. So how do you beat that? Chuck it over the top. And you know who throws the best deep ball in the NFL? One of Drake May. So look for some digs and posts and big plays from them as they kind of get them creeping up a little bit. All right, last game. Last but not least. Well, maybe one of these teams' passing games is least. But we got the Texans, the Steelers at Heinz Field. It's still Heinz Field. I'll say this joke every single freaking time because it's Heinz Field to me. Dang it. Texans 3-point favorites on the road. The over-under of this game is 38.5. So we got 46.5, 45, 51.5, 44.5, 46. A bunch of, juicy games. 38.5. Classic Steelers matchup here. And that's because these are some good defenses, including the Texans, probably no matter how you shake it, a top 3 defense. Real quick, Chuck, what are you focusing on this game? That's Monday night.
Is Aaron going to quit again like he did against Myles Garrett when that pass rush chase was happening? Or since now you're in the playoffs, you're actually going to play within the structure of
the game? Is it 2-minute Aaron or is it
right.
the other outside 2-minute Aaron?
Yeah. I mean, regardless, it's just good luck. Good luck, because I would imagine the Texans are looking at this Steelers offense and laughing at themselves. Okay, you got DK back this week, but whatever. Like you,
what else you got?
Aaron Rodgers, you are going to have to stand back there and try to give things some time to develop and leave yourself open to absolute Wolverines and monsters and terrors of the night coming after you on every pass play. That's just what the game has to be this week. And I just don't know if he's willing to do it. Like, what was getting to the wild card round, was that good enough for him to kind of walk off into the sunset? Because if they're not on top of the game this week and they don't have a strong game plan on just how to stay upright, I think this could get bloody very fast. Now, it's not like the Texans offense is so overwhelming that the Steelers defense, which has improved, like, can't play a solid game against them. But on the flip side, I just can't imagine like an offense at this point in the season that will be less threatening to the Texans defense than where the Steelers are. I would love to be wrong about that because I want to watch an entertaining game, but it feels like they are about to get choked out something fierce.
That's kind of how I feel. I know. I actually thought the spread would be bigger. I get it. They're on the road. Why I make that 2-minute joke is watch Aaron Rodgers within 2 minutes when all of a sudden he's like, I got to chuck it. All right. All of a sudden he starts throwing it over the middle. He starts pushing the ball. His air yards jumps up a full yard in 2 minutes. And that's not just everybody. Like, some guys do that, as they're desperate and everything. Eye test matches this. Like, everything matches that. Like, this is a dink and dunk offense. Anyone's watched the Steelers, that's just how they play. It's very freaking frustrating. Again, he has the shortest or the longest air yards to his sticks since 2011 of any quarterback, 650 out of 650, whatever it was. And it's a bunch of checkdowns to Kenneth Gainwell and under routes to Kenneth Gainwell. Darnell Washington, who has been a fun aspect of this offense, is out. So it's DK Metcalf and the Funky Bunch as pass catchers. And then with the Texans, who legit are one of the few defenses that go, I mean, they run more zone than it's a mix. But when they run man coverage, they're one of the few teams that can just do it down after down and dare you to beat them. And then, okay, so you got DK Metcalf and we want to run man coverage. We got Derek Stingley Jr., all pro corner and one of the best corners in the game, period. And we got one of the best corner twos in the game. So it's not like you can do like a side, okay, we'll just put him on the left away from Stingley. Nope, we got another guy over there. Looked at it on FTN, DVOA versus receivers. Texans, 6th versus receiver 1. That's a Stingley stat. 11th versus receiver 2. 3rd versus receiver 3. That's like a Jalen Petrie stat, who was on our All Football 301 team earlier this week. 2nd versus tight ends. So Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, not liking them as well. 3rd versus running back targets. That's Kenneth Gainwell. That's Jalen Warren. So everything that Rodgers wants to do, the Texans have answers for. They don't even have to blitz. Like, that's the thing too. And Rodgers hasn't been bad against the blitz. So even if they do want to blitz, they can do that. But the other thing I looked up, Aaron Rodgers this year against man coverage. This was out of 36 quarterbacks. So 36 quarterbacks had 200 or more pass attempts this year. 32nd in first downs per attempt, 31st in throws over the middle, 33rd in success rate, 23rd in net yards per attempt, 23rd in EPA per dropback. So they got, if you can wash out DK Metcalf, he's going to throw go balls to Scotty Miller and MVS. And if I were the Texans, I'd be like, have at it, buddy. Like, go for it. Throw those go balls. Let's do it. Like, all right, that's fine. Yeah, yell at another receiver for not finishing the route. Aaron Rodgers loves that.
Loves yelling. Yeah.
Loves that. Loves doing that to his receivers. Like, tighten it, even though he like sails ball over Jonnu Smith by 5 yards. But he loves doing that. I don't know. I wish I had more to this. I think the Steelers defense has gotten a lot better. I'm really excited to see the DBs versus those receivers. The Texans passing game's actually been pretty dang good. Like in the back half of the season, like their weapons are becoming more weapony in the passing game. I just think the other side of the ball is going to be just such a snuff film that's basically like the Texans offense, just don't get up and you win this game. Like, that's really it. That's how I view it.
Yep, that's where I'm at. I mean, the Steelers offense, like, they're probably about average now. They had like some moments early in the season where they looked, pretty like solid. Like they were like top 10 points per drive at one point. Didn't quite feel like a top 10 offense, but hey, if they can figure out how to score on this defense with DK Metcalf and Jalen Warren, like that those are your two guys right now for the most part. Maybe we should get back to talking about Arthur Smith as like a head coach candidate, because this is barren, man. This is barren. Like the fact that they even have like a league average offense and the top 5 rushing game over the back half of the season, at least in terms of EPA, not quite success rate, but it's not the worst coaching job you've seen out there. And for making fun of him for the past like 4 or 5 years, you think you'd be able to give him just a little bit of props? But no, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're just here to make fun of people.
I wouldn't mind him going back to the Titans. He would fit great with Cam Ward, actually. Like, he'd actually make some magic together. Yeah. No, I'm with
2023 Falcons offensive line screwed them. 1 year, they just took a 1 year dip, and it was so bad.
The run game dropped off. Like, it was just
for 1 year too. Just 1 year.
I know. Just hold the fort, man. You guys were okay. You guys, the train, it was working. Coach. You guys were you're building to something. God, it takes time.
They still have Arthur's offensive line coach.
I know, who's really good. I know. It's the 2024 Falcons had the best. That was the record that the Stafford or the Rams broke this year. They had the best run game until Rams this year. Like, and that was just kind of an undersold thing with them. So I know it's. We did the all football 3-1 team, and then Matt and I kept bringing up Steelers, like offensive Steelers, like Darnell Washington. And then we brought up basically every offensive lineman. Like Zach Frazier was our center. I brought up Mason McCormick. And then he brought up somebody else. And then I was like, oh, Troy Fontenot could be a guy too. And then we've had some comments going like, man, you would have thought the Steelers won 14 games. It's like, no, but they won 10 games and their offense was actually decent despite a quarterback that doesn't want to play quarterback. Like, that speaks to what their O-line and what the head and the offensive play caller has been doing. Like, that's where the credit goes to this offense. But, when you got a certain guy playing quarterback for you, he gets a lot of attention. even if he doesn't want to push the ball past the sticks. All right. Spread was 3 points. Texans. Who are you taking in this game, Chuck?
Texans.
Same.
Yeah.
I think I kind of feel pretty good about the Texans. Their offense is doing enough that like their run game's almost there. Like it's almost to the cusp of what I need. It's not great, but it's getting there. I'm also going to the Texans, and I'll be recapping this game Monday night solo. So make sure to check that out. But now it's time to cap off this XXL wildcard matchup show with some Hail Marys. Hail Marys is where we throw up a prayer of a prediction. I've got 2 this season, and Chuck has 3. Feeling a nice and dirty one in week 18 to take the lead. But what's your Hail Mary for wildcard weekend,
Chuck? My Hail Mary is it's a 2-parter for that Texans-Steelers game. Aaron Rodgers, lowest time to throw of the season, and they still lose by double-digit points. They still lose by double-digit points. Because if you go back and you look at Aaron Rodgers' games, all of them this year, every single game where he completed his passes in under 2.5 seconds, they won except for one, the Browns game. Disgusting football. And it's the only game they lost where he was thrown under 2.5 seconds. But I think this week it kind of looks more like I'm throwing in 2.5 seconds so Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter don't hit me like Myles Garrett was trying to hit me the other day. I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as like, man, you're throwing swings late in the down 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage and letting your running backs get killed. But I would imagine he's going to be getting rid of that ball pretty fast, because when those two guys are on the field together, like I think their pressure rate is somewhere close to 50% when those two guys on the field together rushing. It doesn't make sense. And like I definitely think the Steelers offensive line, like this is a fun part of the playoffs. So like the Steelers offensive line has been good this year. Here come 2 phantoms, bro. Good luck.
And they got some teammates too that are actually, made of leather. Pretty good. some nice doors and seats and wheels.
That's right.
And rims on that defense too. They are. I think that's what's so everything I brought up the rant. I know I'm about to say my Hail Mary, and I know producer Stone's going like, wrap it up. But it's the everything I said about the 49ers defense and how like kind of like basic they are, and like you kind of know what you're getting, and they kind of line up and roll the ball out. The Texans do the same thing, but they actually have the horses to do it. It makes sense. DeMeco Ryans and Robert Saleh, they ran the same defense in San Francisco, but the Texans is like, this is what it looks like, guys. Like this is what the Zoomer version of the Legion of Boom defense looks like. We rush with 4 and we beat your ass, and then we play man coverage and we run a couple coverages and we do it really, really well. Like Petrie saws a bunch of dudes off in the slot. It's a cool defense. So yeah, just had to say that. My Hail Mary, it was the game at the beginning of the show. It's not that sexy, but I'm just gonna say the Rams are gonna win by 2 touchdowns, 14 points. I know the spread's 10, so it's not that much crazy, but I think it's gonna be at least 14 points. I think the Rams are going to win handily. I know that's not very fun, but that's what I'm going to go with the Hail Mary. I like yours better because I'm going to be tracking time to throw Monday night and just going like, did you get it? Did you get it there? Quick?
There's a still mad about. The one I'm still mad about was the Mahomes big completion under pressure against Houston. That Hail Mary got so close, like 2 or 3 times in that game. But I think they handled it this weekend. Yeah.
I don't remember I won the last one. I won my. You had the best one you got was you said the Panthers were going to
Panthers over the
cover
Packers.
Against the Packers, but they actually outright won. That was a great one. Yeah, no, that was probably the best one of the year. I know I wanted my one from week 18. I wanted the Riley Leonard one because he played well. That actually like got me excited. But then he was throwing the ball well. I thought he was going to be running all over him. So against that Texas defense. All right.
Yeah.
We're closing it out today. That was awesome, Chuck. Great job. We are going to be back, or I'll be back on Sunday to recap it. And I'll also be doing a little bit of Monday action to recap that game as well. But we'll be doing that on YouTube. So come hang out while we do that. I'm Nate Tice. You can find me at Nate_Tice on social media. That's Charles McDonald. You can find him at 4Verts. We had a mock draft this week, so make sure to check that out on Yahoo.
Do that.
Yeah. I got that. Squeezed in that Georgia left tackle and Mr. Monroe. So yeah, I squeezed him in there. But yeah, some people are agreeing with that one. But subscribe to us, follow us, rate us 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts. Watch us on YouTube, on the Yahoo Sports YouTube channel. Make sure to check out the Yahoo NBA channel as well. Subscribe and like the videos there. We'd appreciate it. Leave some comments, leave some replies. Let's juice up that algorithm, huh? Shall we? Can we do that for Wildcard Weekend, guys? But thanks to Stone, Austin, and Madison behind the scenes for making us look and sound good. Thank you so much for joining us for this preview episode. See you guys Sunday night. Have a great weekend.